Yes, before understanding today's concepts, let's try to recollect it what we had it yesterday, and then we continue to set up the Ansible today. Yeah, but what we had it the yesterday understanding about Ansible. Yes, at most one of the important goal which we have this in the process model is how fastly we deliver the change. Whether that is a single line of the code or is it yes, that's entire feature which you are planning to release it. Yes, once that is ready from the development team, the how fastly, that means minimizing the life cycle time of that the delivering this that's a change to that end user is the one of the important metric that will be considered in the release process. But how to minimize it this life cycle, I mean during the release this life cycle time, I mean the releasing is anything but not just like taking about the change and deploying to that the production, not that, with complete evaluations that is required. So what are like the functionality related test cases, non-functionality related test cases, or UAT related test cases, and the production deployment without giving any impact to the user, and then production changes also verifying that, and finally confirming that the change is ready. So all that the phases and in the process model, if we are able to minimize it, the life cycle time, then we get the more benefit. But how do you do that, and how it can be managed? Yes, this objective, as we have this in agile point of view, this continuous delivery deployment pipeline. So, which is recommended is automation approaches. So, as we're talking about it, once the change is ready, yeah, the change required deploying to that staging servers and make sure that all the test cases are passed there. Then move that change to this next environment, that is non-functionality environment. Then once that is ready, then run that all the test cases which are planned over there. Then if it is confirmed, then move to this, that change it to the next environment. And in that environment, yes, what are the test cases which are planned, run it, and finally release to the production and make sure that that is ready. So this, like where the one change distributing to the number of environments, and each environment the number of servers. Yeah, if the change is belong to the middleware, the first staging server related the middleware servers deployment and make sure it that is ready, and then yes, the load testing environments, then UAT environments. But here not only just one server, like that would be the multiples of the numbers will be having servers will be having. Yeah, so we need to make sure that the changes are distributed to this all the environments, and as well as in each environment number of servers as well as. So that is the main one of the point. But how to manage that this thing is by implementing the automated deployments. But going for this automated deployment, there are some advantages which we are trying to understand it. Is on demand, fast and reliable, repeatable and predictable outcomes, and consistent environments, fast feedback loops, and riskless deployments. Yeah, so there are some advantages of that implementing about this automated deployments to this number of environments, number of servers. But we need to plan it not only just application change, and we need to think it about it infrastructure. There's like there's defining about it networks are defining about it, OSs are defining about storages and file systems. And then not only that infra, that is a platform level, that is about if you're planning to deploy this the Java application, yes, the Java should be ready with the required versions. And then Tomcat server, what are the deployment server that is required, the deployment server. Yeah, so what are the things that we need to plan it in that deployment is, yes, almost like all the resources, that is infra level, platform level, and application level, and application data and dependencies, everything which we should able to write as a code, or which we should able to store it in the version controlling tool. Version controlling tool, what do we store it? That is code, right? Yeah, if you're able to write infrastructure as a code, and if you're able to manage that all the state of that application, what are the resources that is required, then we get it that the advantage of this is automated deployments during the process. But how do you do that? Yeah, we have the solutions on the infra level, solutions on the platform level and application level. So infra level, if you just talk it like Terraform, which you are trying to understand, you would like to launch that EC2 instances or networks which are required from AWS point of view, or any provider. Like a Terraform is not specific to the particular provider, right? Not only for AWS. So if you are planning for that Azure infra, or you are planning for that Google infra, yes, that is a flexibility they have in the Terraform. Yes, infrastructure as a code, and then yes, if you are able to write infrastructure as a code, keep everything in the version controlling tool, and we can manage that the infra itself as a development and the development with the operational activities. But how do we do that? Yeah, infrastructure as a code model point of, if you just try to understand all these configuration management tools comes into the picture. There is Ansible, Puppet, Chef, the Salt Stack, and Ansible is one of those as a market leading yes, like configuration management tool, which is supporting for that cloud infrastructures and on-premises, that is about like a private clouds, public clouds, or on-premises environments or the data centers. Easy way to manage the configuration changes which are required for that application. Yes, the Ansible is more flexible. Why it is more flexible is this is the agent-less. That means you don't need to install that the particular the service on the target nodes. So agent is not required. Yeah, so this is the main point. Agent is not required. And we can use it SSH and WinRM based communication to the target nodes from the Ansible controller. And we can have the communication to the target nodes, and we can apply the configuration changes. Yeah, the two, architecture point of view, Ansible is agentless. You don't need to have separate services on the target nodes. And it uses that like a push-based architecture. Yes, like from the controller machine, if you would like to apply the configuration changes to the web servers, or if you would like to apply the configuration changes to app servers or database servers, so we can define the inventory file as we were talking this yesterday. Inventory mechanism, we can define it, the logical group of the target nodes on the base of the services or on the base of the changes which are planning to apply it. So we can orchestrate it, we can group it. Orchestration is now grouping. So we can group it on the base of the environment, and within that environment on the base of the services which are running. So we can logically group it all the targets, and we can push the changes from the Ansible controller to the target nodes. So two important features, if you just try to understand it from the Ansible point of view. One is orchestration, that is define the inventory on the basis of the changes which are required to apply it. That is all servers as a one group, or a database servers, or database to restart it, or database to do that the configuration changes, or a middleware app servers point of view, or a web servers point of view. Yes, on the basis of the changes which are required to apply it, we can orchestrate it, the logical group of the target nodes, and we can push the configuration changes with normal communication approach. That means SSH or WinRM based communication, we can use it, and we can have the communication to the target nodes. So that is the beauty of this Ansible architecture wise, agentless architecture, and we can say this is orchestration engine. So the target nodes, whatever we have, logically we can group it, and we can apply the configuration changes from the controller. But Puppet and Chef, these, I mean, these kind of the configuration management tools, if you support it, yeah, they are also supporting infrastructure as a code to write it and to apply the configuration changes. But these are all agent-based architecture. That means you need to have the central server where the main process is running. There's a Puppet master is running, and on which on which servers do you want to apply the configuration changes. On all the systems, if you have the 1,000, on all the 1,000 systems, you need to make sure that the agent is up and running on each system wise. and this agent has to, is keep on checking with that the central server to get the latest configuration changes. And if you have those any changes, then the central server is going to send the specifications to the target node. Then the target node going to executing that the changes the locally. So this is, we can say that the pull based architecture. So agent request it, and it is going to get that the changes to run it or to apply the target node. Yeah, agent based architecture and pull based approach. But Ansible is agent-less architecture and push-based architecture, push-based approach. Yeah, so there's some main differences. So in interviews, one of the important point they ask you this: the what is the main differences between the Puppet and yes, Ansible? Yeah, architecture-wise and approaches-wise, that is a difference. And finally, like one more point, what do we have this is, yes, let's go for looking into that. So how do we set up this Ansible central server, and how do we make sure about it the communication to the target nodes? Yeah, so that is the activity we are going to do. So any queries, questions before going to start that? Yeah, installation is straightforward. So let me draw that one diagram. What we are going to do that exactly to get the picture of it. So yeah, so let me just conclude as that yesterday's picture point of view. So first, master node, the controller is required, central node, and then the target nodes we need to have to apply the configuration changes. And once that's the master and the target nodes are available, then we need to go for the defining the inventory file. What is the inventory file in the Ansible? What is the inventory file in the Ansible? So as we are mentioning about as a number of environments point of view, and each environment, the servers as per the service point of view. Yes, that is web servers, web service which are running in the virtual machines, or like a Tomcat server which are running on that the virtual machine. So we need to have the logical division of it, right? Yeah, about that nodes and the nodes related the groups, the logical groups, as we're talking about it, orchestration. So orchestration, where do we define? That is inventory file. Yeah, the first to set up this the master or controller node. Then take this that's target nodes. So take the target nodes and have the communication between this yeah, have the communications between the master node to the target nodes, that a passwordless communication that is recommended. And once the some master and target nodes have been defined, then go to the master node and define that inventory file. That means about the target nodes logically. Target nodes, whatever you are planning to apply the configuration changes, as that the changes to manage it, the logically defining that a group of systems or individual systems also you can apply that. There is no issue. But as that like a group of the servers, yes, as a high availability load balancing point of not only one server, right, multiple servers. Yeah, the logically grouping of with the group name and IP addresses of the target nodes is defined in the inventory. And once that's the controller and target nodes with this inventory is ready, then we can go for that. Yes, what are the changes you would like to apply that, and how do we implement those changes to apply it. So how to implement that the infrastructure writing as a code with the playbooks and ml files, that is as roles, So which we need to go for that implementing or writing that this kind of YAML files. Yes, that is we talk it about it. Today, so what do we do this is, like quickly let me draw that one diagram. A total three nodes we are going to take it. Three or five, or that's about your choice how many you are going to use it. But as to give the demonstrations, I'm going to launch that total three nodes. One node which we are going to use it as a Ansible controller, and two more nodes. So there are like a target nodes where we are planning to apply the configuration changes with the logically orchestrating that. Yeah, the first node, the this one will plan it to configure that web server. We know that HTTP service, as we are talking about it, the initially Linux whenever you are learning. So okay, what about now? Is it just a minute, guys? Do you see the screen now? Is it visible now? Sorry. So what's happened? I'm not sure. So what about now? Okay, fine. Yeah. So what exactly we are going to do this in this next demonstration of this Ansible? Yeah. The first we take this three nodes, three EC2 instances. So one we are going to use it as a controller, where as we are trying to understand this side, so integrating with as the GitHub repository and all the playbooks playbooks getting about it through this version controlling tool and deploying, pulling about those changes, then applying to the target servers. But two target nodes, what about this? The purpose is one is to manage that the web server instance, and another one is a Tomcat server. As a logical division of that, on the base of the services, we are just representing that two servers. One is web server to manage it, and second one is Tomcat server to manage it. A total three nodes will take it, and these three nodes, yes, so which we need to have the communication SH communications. Yes, so setting up that SH between all these, especially from the controller to the target nodes, the SH based communication. And once that SH communication is ready, then we go further down this Ansible controller. Yes, we have some configuration file of the Ansible and as well as inventory file. So understanding about the configuration and inventory, and make sure that so we are able to run that Ansible commands to apply the configuration. Yeah, Tomcat is nothing but that is a app server. Yes, application server. Tomcat is an app server. And web server like Apache or Nginx, they're all like web servers. Yeah, so we define that the inventory whenever we would like to Apache server to install it or to configure it or to restart it. Yes, we need to connect it to the system. And whenever we would like to manage the Tomcat server starting or Tomcat server stopping through the Ansible, then we need to have the communication to the Tomcat nodes. Yes, in this group now we are defining that one server. But if we, in the real time, if we have this number of servers, all the servers in the inventory file, we need to define it. The inventory file is important. And then finally having the communication to the Tomcat nodes. Yes, to get that exposure, let me go for that creating three EC2 instances and first setting that by SSH. Then we'll come back to that. Yeah, like how do we configure that the orchestration mechanism from the Ansible to the target servers. So let's go back to that. So let me use it Singapore region. We had one server, the build server, but I'm not going to use this build server. Let's keep it as it is. So I'm going to launch that three more EC2 instances. So let's go for launch the instances. So Amazon Linux to AMI, you can take it, or you can find that the CentOS and CentOS images also you can take it. That is on the base of but whenever we use it, Amazon Linux to AMIs, so we have the packages are the different. So a little bit packages wise, so that is different. Anyway, let me go for taking about it. The quick start AMI. So many instances here, but like instead of going through there, yeah, I'm going to use it Amazon Linux to AMI itself. But a little bit package is the different in the normal CentOS or Red Hat with the Amazon Linux to AMI. So we'll try to find it that package. Yes, total 3 instances we are going to launch it here. And storage anyway the default, and the tags I will add it later. Security group, yes, we need that the at least 22 to connect it and to configure all these activities. So let me use it the 22 port. Oh, it is enabled for all. Singapore region or Mumbai region, which one we are using? Singapore only, right? As I see this is so many security groups, and let me create it one separate one. SSH security group. Yeah, and here is the 22 port and with a source as a source of IP addresses. That's fine. Let me review and launch it. So let me choose the key pair, which is okay. So let me go for the creating a new key pair. This is for Ansible nodes. Okay, let's launch the instance. So launch failed, the security group already exists. Okay, so let's go back to review screen, and in the security group edit this, and let me give that Ansible security group, because that group name already there. I'm just changing the group name. Singapore Ansible, yes. Okay, so 3 instances which are launching. Let me like for whatever identification point of I'm going to define the names. So one node I'm going to use it as a Ansible. So it is keep on getting the refresh there. You can wait some time, or let me try it. Ansible, this is the controller. One node we are going to use it as an Ansible controller. Oh, it's gone. Let's keep on refreshing that. That's why like whatever we are entering. So that's let me try it once again. Yeah, so Ansible controller as a one node, and one node like, yes, let me define this one. We use it like as a web server. So all the HTTP service related activities, so we are going to planning to apply to this target node. This is one target node. On the base of the service, we are logically dividing that. But if you have the more environment based, within that environment service based actually. But yes, we don't need that those many instances. So once if you know that how do you do that orchestration for 2 or 3 systems or thousands of the system, the same process. and this one we are going to use it for app server. Yeah, total 3 nodes. And first let me log into this instance. Now we need to do the setting up that one by one, the SH communication to that. So let's do that. Default username anyway, easy to use it. Yeah, this is a instance which I just logged in, and let me go for yes, this node, the which we are going to use it as controller. Let me set up the host name. Otherwise, whenever we log into the system, on which system, which activities we are doing that, there's a little bit confusion if you are going to refer that IP addresses. Let me change that the host name as Ansible controller. Sudo host name ctl set host name, and this one we would like to call it like Ansible controller. Yeah, let me relog in once again. Yeah, so this is Ansible controller. Like that, let me connect it to those remaining 2 systems as well as. So let me get back the IP address of the remaining 2. So this is about Ansible controller second node. This node will identify as a web server. So to reflect that change, log off and log in once again. Yeah, this is a web server, and this is a controller, web server, and one more node, app server. Let me define this name for that one as well as. Let me close remaining. This is the third instance. So we are going to identify this as an app server. Okay, so we are good. Now this three nodes are ready. Now what is the main requirement is, first of all, we need to have the communication between the controller to that target nodes, right? Yeah, so SH communication that is required. But now we are using the key pair default, yes, the key pair to have the communication to this each instance. But what do we do this is, as we know about it, SH communications, how to configure it. Now we need to configure it for this EC2 user. Anyway, this user is available on this instance, on this instance, on this instance, or we can go for the creating separate user. That is, yeah, the user add command with some Ansible user. We can take it and we can set up SH configuration for Ansible user or custom user. But the process is the same. Now thus I would like to use it this EC2 user to run it all Ansible related operations. And if you are expecting that the communication between that the system to the all the target nodes, the web server and app servers, yes. Anyway, we have this user. We don't need to create it once again that. So I'm going to use it this user, or if you need that custom user, yes, you can create a custom users as well as, and for that user we can define the SH communications. That's about the requirement based we can go ahead. So now I'm going to use it this ECT user to have the communication between controller to the web server and app server. And make sure about it, this user is belong to that sudo user. That means a wheel group or default group which we have, which you can add it to the user. If you are creating any custom user, yeah, you can create a user and you can add to that wheel group. But this user, we are going to use it already. This user is belong to that wheel group. That means he is like by default sudo user. Yeah, first that is identify that user, which user we would like to have that on the controller to that target nodes to manage Ansible playbooks or roles. Yeah, so this is a user, we are going to take it. Yes. Next thing is SH configuration. So how to configure that SH between the source system to the destination systems? Can you give me that quickly, the commands to set up that SH configuration between the source system to the destination? Here the source system is Ansible controller and destination systems are like web server and app servers. Yeah, can you give me the commands to set up that possible SSH communication? Maybe you got that SSH service, right? Yeah, so here it is not the push or something. It's like you need to do the SSH configuration. How do you do that? Yeah. So SSH command to connect it is sh-i and username at the rate of IP address. Okay, that's fine. But here we are talking that SH configuration first of all. Now if I take it this, I don't have the key pair in my local system, right? Key pair is available on my Windows system which are downloaded. But I don't want to use that key pair. Can we generate about our own key to have the SH communications? Instead of using that AWS key pair, can we have that about our own key? How do we generate the keys? Yeah, on this machine, what do we do? The first, we generate a key. There's a public and a private keys by using SH keygen -t and a type of that algorithm which you would like to use it. Yeah, first we need to generate the SH key. So which user are you going to use it? Are you planning to manage that Ansible changes? So log in with that user. So we are using that EC2 user. Yes, we have already logged in. Or if you have this other user, switch to that user and generate the key. So sh keygen, what it is doing, it is going to create two files, right? What are those two files? Can you give me the file name of that where the public key which is stored? You know already these concepts from Linux. Now you are just trying to bring back and you are applying that now. Yeah, what is the file name? Once if you generate the key, so in which file will be having the public key, in which file we will be having the private key. So sh keygen, it is going to generate. What is one more point. What about this file's location? Where that keys that will be stored by default? Sh keys. Anyway, let me go for it. So in the user home directory, .ssh folder, right, where that all the keys that will be stored by default, and the public key that is storing this in id underscore rsa dot pub, and a private key that will be stored in id underscore rsa file. So whenever we run it sh keygen, so it is going to generate the public key and the private key, and these keys that will be stored in that user home directory.sh as a default. Yeah, the first let me log into the controller, and we are not going to use it as AWS key pair. Now here we are creating about our custom key pair, which can be used to have the communication between about the source system, that is a controller, and destination systems or the target nodes. So let me go back to the controller. By default, if you verify this within the controller in the user home directory .ssh folder, so we have this one file authorized keys. So what about these authorized keys is, now whenever we created the key pair and we have downloaded the key pair, right, for this EC2 instance. So private key has been downloaded to that about our Windows system, and public key is stored in this user home directory authorized keys. That's why whenever we are trying to SSH to the system with the key pair, so this is the public key which contains. So this file contains this file contains actually the public key, and private key we have downloaded from in our system, and that public key and this private key is helping to have it authentication. But this file we don't want to use it, that you can use it the same one also, but we would like to go for the creating a custom one. So how to create a keys? So sh keygen is the command, and the type of yes, that's the algorithm which you would like to use it, that's RSA, you can use it. Now whenever we run this command, it is a prompting for that. So where do you want to store that? So enter the file in which to save the key. By default, it is storing that in user home directory.sh folder, and especially private key if you see this id underscore rsa. Or we can change this location also on the basis of the about requirement, but the default location is user home directory.sh folder. Let's keep it that the default, and passphrase is not required, just ignore it. Yeah, so now if you verify this, that's the ssh folder. Yeah, we got it two more files, id underscore rsa and id underscore rsa.pub. That is a public key. So this contains the private key, this file. The user home directory .ssh id underscore rsa. Yes, this is file contain the private key. And another file rsa.pub, this file contain the public key. Yes, you see the same approach in authorized keys, how we have the same thing, you can see that over here in a pub file, there's a public key. Now what do we need to do this? This public key we need to copy to the target nodes where we would like to have the passwordless communications. But how I can copy that? First of all, let me try it with the password based whether we are able to connect it to these two systems. So as we are representing the diagram for it, okay, now we have generated the key with sh keygen. Now I have that public key and a private key which can be used for authentication between this source system to the target nodes. But if I would like to copy this my public key to the system, so how do you do that? Yeah, one way what we can do this is open this file on the source system id underscore rsa.pub file, copy the content and go to this web server user home directory .sh folder, authorized keys one file we can create it and we can paste it over there. So that is a manual approach. Instead of doing that, what we can do, what is the command to copy the public key to the target node? I mean, have you got that SH service? No, SCP, if I'm having that, the files to copy, I can use it. Uh, you can use it, SCP also here, but we have that SH related itself some commands, right, which are helping. Why do you want to use it SCP? Can you give me the command to copy the public key to the target node? So first generation, the next one is which we have like the copying of the public key to the target node. But before that, let me verify it from the systems. At least, first of all, I need to have the password based communication to the systems. But password based, is it supporting it or not? Let's check it now by running that SSH and which user we are trying to use it. EC2 user and at the rate of IP addresses. So whenever we are trying to use it or configuring that SH, don't configure on the public IP addresses and use that private IP address, right? Public IP address, if I stop it and start that instance, it is going to change it every day. Once we are doing that like demonstrations, every day morning we need to configure that SH between all the systems because the IP address is going to change it whenever we restart the system, or we need to go for using about it. What is the solution? Other solution, standard IP address if we need it. Yeah, how to get it to the standard IP address to the EC2 instance? From AWS, what is the concept? Elastic IP, right? EIP. Okay, the required the revisions. Yeah, so I mean, if you are going to use the public IP address, so Elastic IP is required as a standard IP address, but we don't want to depending on that like Elastic IPs. So whenever you are configuring that SH, make sure that you are configuring on the private IP address instead of using the public IP. Yes, EIP concepts. Yeah, so let me verify that first of all from this controller server to this target nodes, whether we have that SH based communications or not. With the normal approach, the password based communication, but through automation, if you are performing passwordless recommended. Passwordless point of view, keys required. Where we don't want to enter the username and password, the public key would like to copy it already on the target nodes, and private key will keep it here and this private key, and whenever it is trying to connect it to that, the public key on the target node, it verifies the both keys are same for that user. If that is matched, then authentication which will be done and allowed that automatically to enter into the system. So first of all, let me verify that the password based communication from this controller to the web server and the Tomcat server using this using this command, the sh command. So let me go back to the controller. So what I would like to do that, yes, sh to that EC2 user, the IP address, let me get that IP address of the web server or app server, any one of that, but which IP address? Don't use the public IP address. Here, anyway, we are trying to connect establishing communication controller to the web server and app servers, all are in the same network, right? So we can use the private network. But whenever we are connecting from about our Windows to this Ansible controller or web server app server, we are using the public IP address because the Windows system is external network. From the external network you are trying to connect it is, yes, either you need to allow that from this network to that network, that is network should be allowed, or if the network is not allowed, then we need to use that public IP addresses which we can access from anywhere. But all that, like SH configurations point of view, are going to use the private IP address, not the public. Yeah, so this is a private IP address. Let me take it and go back to the controller to check up that whether do we have the communication. So it is not allowing that, permission denied. So what is the meaning of this one now? Now what do we need to do? So the password based communication is not allowing by this host. Actually, it has to prompt for that password, right, to enter it. After entering the password, if the password is invalid, then it can say that permission denied. But I am not able to enter the password first of all. It is not prompting for the password. That means on this node, SSH service should be configured the password based communications. So let's go to the web server. And what is the SSH configuration file? Where it is located? Yeah, so in this configuration file, sorry, not this one, shd_conf. SSH okay. So here two properties that we need to check it. One is enable the public key authentication, and the second one is password based communication. By default, the password based authentication is no, so we need to enable that. And there are the two properties we need to define it in this configuration file, the sh configuration to accept for the password based. If you'd like to copy the file, you need to have the first at least the password based communication. Then let me restart the service, that is systemctl restart sshd. Now let's check it from this system. Now we are able to get that, yes, now it is prompting for the password. But which password? Which is easy to user, which password? No, we didn't configure that easy to user password, right? Easy to user, we have used so far key based authentication. Password is not configured. Let me set the password for this easy to user. How do you set the password for that user? Yeah, changing the password for that user, easy to user. So current password, we don't know anything that's the current password. So if you know the current password, you can do that. So let me do this now, running with sudo options, and the password for that easy to user. Here the new password. Yes, I'm going to set up this something, I mean some XYZ password, whatever you prefer that. Yeah, so I have set up this the password, and that's tokens updated successfully. Now I can use it, that password over here, whenever we are connecting to the system. Yes, now the password based authentication is successful. We are able to connect by using the CCT user to the web server. Actually, we are trying to connect from the controller with SH. We are not using that any key pair explicitly. First, password based. So we are enabling that on this node, shd underscore config file, opening that, and two properties. Public authentication should be yes. So if I try to print it, that the content, and what is that one more argument? Password based authentication by default, that is no, but yes, if you like to copy the files, that should be set up that. Yeah, so there's two properties which are doing that. The password key authentication, public key authentication, yes, that is yes, this is one property, and one more property, that password based authentication, we are allowing that. So where we see that, but anyway, you can verify this one. Yeah, password key authentication is yes. So those two things, so make sure it and restart this HTTP service, and then come back to the system and try to do that SH. But that user password, now it is a prompting, but what is the password? There is no password by default from the EC2 user, right? From the AMI which was selected, that AMI is not having their password. Now we have defined the password for that user, again coming back to the system and setting the password for that user. Now we are using that password, we are good. Now we have connected successfully. But this is the password based authentication. So whenever we are trying to connect it, it is prompting for the password. I can use that password to log into the system. But we are not going to use the password based communication. Passwordless communication required. But passwordless communication, to configure it, already we have generated the keys, right? Yes, we have the public key and a private key. Private key, we never share it to that others. So that is from about our source system, where from which system would like to connect it on the system, private key. And now we need to copy this public key to this system. That means whatever that the username and IP address which we have. So this in SSH. So we need to copy the public key. How do we copy that? So what is the command to copy the public key? sh copy id. So this is a command which is helping for this current user in that sh folder. Whatever the public key is there, that public key is going to take it, and which user you are specifying and which IP address you are specifying, that to it connects to the system, and to this user it tries to copy the public key. Yeah, so for now it is prompting for the password. Whatever the password we have set up, now we can use it to authenticate it. Initial. Yes, now number of keys that have been added, 1. If you see this message, that means that what our public key has been copied successfully. Now let's try to check it. Now we are on the controller. I would like to check it. Now we have the copied the public key. Now is it prompting for the password? Let's verify it now. Yeah, without prompting for the password, now we are able to connect from the controller to the web server. Are you clear on these points? Or do you configure that SH based is the communication between that the source to the destinations? whether which is system, I mean that like Linux to Linux, whatever the systems, or even from the Windows, if you have like a Git bash terminal which is supporting sh terminal, so we can use it on the Windows Git bash terminal, and we can have that sh communication to that Linux servers as well as. But on the Windows, you need to generate the key. That key we need to copy it, sh keygen and sh copy id. These are the two commands. Then sh command. Total 3 commands we have used. If we verify the history, total 3 commands. What are those 3 commands? First, generating that the keys. Then verifying about it, the password based communications are happening it or not. But it was not happening, and we are configuring this on the target node, the password based authentication enabling for the sh service, and that user the password configuration. And when that is done on this web server, then we are trying to copy this using this copy id to this user on this host. It has been copied. Now we are able to do that sh without password. Like that, let me repeat it the same steps for this app server also. But what is the first thing is on this app server? Let's go to that, the etc sh. Okay, we have the two directories, sh and shd underscore config file. So let's open this file. Public key authentication and password based, but permit root passwords and all this also we have, but they're all not recommended. Okay, it's done. Now let's go back to that, and but before that, let's get that IP address, private IP address of this app server. We are not going to use the public IP address, private IP address. We are configuring sh communication for private IP addresses. And one more point, so set the password for the easy to use. Okay, so let's go back to here. Let's use it now sh. The first verifying the password based communication point of view. EC2 user at the rate of IP address of the system. Yeah, the first time it is going to prompt for that. I mean, just remember this point. Whenever we are trying to connect to that with the key based or I mean even the password based, whenever you are trying to connect to the first time to the system, it is a prompting, are you sure you want to continue connecting to this new host? Yeah, this is the host known verification, we'll call it. So this host which are trying to connect it, do you know about this host or not? Yeah, that is asking the confirmation as security point of view. Yes, if we say this is a one-time configuration, one-time prompting. The first time whenever you are authenticating from this system to other system, this system, do you know this one or not? Then whenever you say that yes, it will be added to that known host file. Let me show that's what is the known host file. I'll come back, but let me try that connecting to the system. So I entered the wrong password. Yes. Okay, so now app server we are able to connect with the password based. Fine, but we don't want the password. But why do we need this password based configuration? To copy the key, which we are doing that. Now, what I would like to show that is, if we verify in user home directory.sh folder, so we have the known host files. So whenever we give the confirmation, first time it prompts, right? So are you sure you want to continue connecting to this host? Yes, if we say that yes, Now about this IP address of which you are trying to connect it, that will be added to this file. Now if you verify this file, second time we don't see that. That's prompting once again. Now these are all the two IP addresses which are known from this system. Whenever we are connecting either to this system or this system, second time onwards, it doesn't prompt for the hostname verification. Yeah, this is one more file. Because whenever we are configuring that automation approach from the Jenkins, so we will disable that because it prompts for that user input is nothing but there's a manual, right? Manually we need to enter yes or no, but we can ignore it, that option, by enabling some properties. Others will come back in the Jenkins section. Okay, so now SSH with the password based is working. Now let's run it. SH copy ID, yes. So SH copy ID is the same SH command, username and target IP address. Just change that SH to that SH copy ID, that's all. Almost the same syntax. A number of keys that have been added, one. Yes, that means we are good. Now let's check it with SH. Yes, we are able to connect to the app server password based. Yes, that's there is like a know about it. This SH configuration. That's how do we communicate it between that source system to destination systems. Are you good on this now? The communication between controller to the target nodes. Now this is about app server. Yes, we are able to, without prompting the password, we are able to connect it to the app server from the controller. And another one which we have, 101, this one. Yes, this is the web server. So we are using the private IP addresses. These private IP addresses, until if you terminate that instance, this won't be changed. That means when even if you start it and stop it, and whenever you come back to this tomorrow class and doing this activities, then we don't need to do each and every day the configuring that SSH, because we are using the private IP addresses. Yeah, so that is the section which we have completed. Yeah, SSH communication between the controller to the target nodes. Are you clear on these points now? Yeah, normally if you just talk it, these three servers are just same servers, right? We just taken that AMI, same AMI, and we had the communication. That's all. But we would like to use it, or we would like to configure this node, the source node, as controller, and there are like a target node. Target nodes for the timing, yes, the communication is more enough. That's enough. But let's come back to this, the controller to configure Ansible on this node. Ansible, is it required on each and every node? No, we don't need that. The only on the controller server we will install the Ansible. So how do we install the Ansible on the controller machine? So let's go back to that the controller. Yes, now we are in the controller. Yeah, how do we? Yeah, what is the package name that's for Ansible is? So Ansible itself. So you can directly refer that m install Ansible. So this is a package name. But here, as we are using the Amazon Linux to AMI, but in the Amazon Linux to AMI, nothing to do with this package name. Normal on the CentOS you are using or Red Hat you are using. So this is a package name, that repository from that CentOS or Red Hat. So this is a package name. But here we are using that Amazon Linux to AMI. It is using that different repository names, and it is not found that this Ansible in this default repository from the AMI, that is Linux AMI. But if you see there's some clue what it is saying, that says Ansible is available in Amazon Linux extra topic. So Ansible is available on Amazon Linux also is providing, but to use it, that's Ansible. So sudo Amazon Linux extras. So that is not available in that M repository. That is available Amazon Linux extras. So this that's like the utility which is supporting on Amazon Linux to AMI, and install Ansible too. So this command is going to helpful to install the on Amazon Linux to AMI. If it is about our normal CentOS systems or Red Hat systems you are using, install Ansible is a direct package. You can install it and you can use it that. But as this AMI pointer which you are using, so there's the command is changing. That is Amazon Linux extras install Ansible 2. How we have the M repository manager. It is like as Amazon Linux extras is the one repository manager for this AMI. And as we're talking about it, before installing the Ansible, one of the prerequisites the Python. You see this, that is installing that all the dependable packages and with the Ansible. Now finally in that the complete list of all these packages. So Ansible 2 latest, yes, that it has been enabled on this system. But we have this like 2.4.2, 2.4.6, 2.8. There are the different versions of it, but it has been installed the latest one which has been enabled. That is a 2.9.2. Now what is the version of the Ansible that has been installed? The latest version which is available from the repository manager extras, Amazon Linux extras. So this is a package which has been installed. But you see that Amazon Linux extras is supporting the HTTP modules, the Memcache, PostgreSQL, or Vim modules, Docker to install it. Yes, whenever we are planning to install the Docker, Amazon Linux extras install Docker or Apple package. And a Tomcat is also ready-made package which is available, Tomcat 8.5. Normally Tomcat tarball will download it, will extract it to the specific location, right? But a Tomcat 8.5 itself, 8.5 version they have given as a package. And yes, directly Amazon Linux extras install the Tomcat 8.5, then that Tomcat which will be installed and ready. So these are all, you can find it, there's some packages, extra packages. Nginx also is another package. Java, OpenJDK 11, this is the one package. Yeah, they're all like Amazon is providing from their repository. Yeah, kernel version point of view, and Redis you can install it, Ruby you can install it, PostgreSQL database you can install it. Yes, but if you would like to install any package, Amazon Linux extras install under package name. Yeah, now the Ansible has been installed with this command, and now the next thing is how to verify that the Ansible. And before verifying, is it required to restart the Ansible? No, not required. So this is a command line based. You can just run the command. So you don't need to, Ansible is not a service. It is just a package, that's all. So if you have installed Ansible, that's enough. You can use the Ansible. And it is not required Ansible systemctl start Ansible or systemctl stop Ansible. It is not a service. But how to use the Ansible? So we have that Ansible is one command. Yes, Ansible. With this command utility, we can run that Ansible commands. Ansible, and I would like to check the version of the Ansible. How we are using that MEN option. MEN or like, yeah, the next we are coming to the Docker. Like that here, Ansible, but verifying that the version, so hyphen version, yes. Now, on the base of the tools, some inputs, some parameters, some tools which supports tool -v, or some tools, some tools, how to verify the version is tool and with version, or some tools which are supporting tool with -, version. So there is like on the base of the tool which we need to use it to these options. Yes, Ansible is -, version. Fine. Now which version it has been installed? 2.9.23, and this is the main configuration file of the Ansible. Yeah, it is the ansible.cfg. So this is the main configuration file of the Ansible, and it is using internal Python modules. Yes, Ansible plugins have been added. Yes, that's plugins which are showing, and Python module. So this is a Python which is getting used by about our Ansible, and Python version which has been installed on the system 2.718. Yeah, this is a version verification. How we have the Maven. Maven is running is nothing but Maven is running on the JDK. JDK is running is nothing but that is running on the OS. So OS layer and Java layer and Maven layer. Whenever we verify this ME-version. Like that, Ansible we are running is nothing but what is that, like internal module which is required is Python module. So on the on the Python, Ansible is running that. Yeah, so this is a verification of this Ansible. Yes, Ansible hyphen version. Yes, if we are able to run that command, Ansible is installed and we are good with that. But the next point what you have this is we need to configure now which user we are using to run it all the Ansible operations. EC2 user we are going to use it. Yes, right? Custom user. This is the custom user. Or maybe you can create custom user, other user, and you can use it that user to run that all the Ansible commands. But how do I instruct it to Ansible? Which user are we going to use it as a default user to run the Ansible commands? I mean, somewhere we need to define it about user, which user we are using to run the Ansible. Yeah, so what is the configuration file of the Ansible is? So this is the configuration file, and in this configuration file, important two things that's we have. One is defining that which user account are you going to use it. That's one property, and another property is, as we are understanding, one of the important the important configuration which you have this is inventory file, right? So what is that inventory file? So next onwards, what are the changes we are applying using Ansible to the target nodes? But the target nodes information somewhere we need to define it or not? The IP addresses, whatever we have used for SH communication, those IP addresses we need to take it and we need to logically add that in the inventory file. Yeah, so that's the logical unit of all the servers and the nodes information. So if you open this configuration file, etc Ansible, and configuration file is ansible.cfg. But before this, let me show that. Let me in this etc Ansible folder. Yes, one of the configuration file what we are talking that ansible.cfg. This is the main configuration file of the Ansible. And here you see this one more file also. This is also file, the host file. This is the inventory file. So inventory file, what is the default inventory file from the Ansible is? That is a host file which is located in the etc Ansible folder. So configuration file and inventory file. These two files are located in which directory? etc Ansible. These two files we should remember it. Yeah, the location of that, the configuration file of the Ansible, or where the default inventory file is located for the Ansible. So if you have this kind of yes, during working time, if you need that information, or in interviews, if you need that information, what are the main configuration file of the Ansible and where it is located. So what is the default inventory file name and where it is located. Yeah, so this is a configuration file. Let's edit this. As we know that etc is the default main configuration directory, right? Within that etc, Ansible package point of view, Ansible directory, and Ansible point of view, configuration file point of view, Ansible.cfg. That is easy to remember it. Yeah, but here, so if you see the some of the properties of this configuration file, inventory file by default it is not enabled. So what is that inventory file location we are saying? etc Ansible host. This is a default location. But if you have a custom location about that inventory file, yes, we can edit this property and we can define the custom location. etc Ansible host with the default, but we can define in the different location as that application requirement, and we can specify the location of the inventory file in this configuration file. This is one thing. And other properties, local temporary directory, remote temporary directory, the module details. So these are all the things generic. And if you talk at some more points, which user are we going to use it to run this Ansible activities? Are we going to use the root user? No, we should not use the root, right? What is the user we are going to use it here? To run it all the Ansible operations, EC2 user. Or if you have this any custom user, the specific to the Ansible operations to manage it, that user we need to define it in the Ansible configuration file. And what is that like SH communication point of view? What is the default port it uses? 22, right? Anyway, there's a default SH port. The communication between the systems was 22, but can we customize it? Suppose web server is running a SH service on like something 1001 port, and on this node it is running on this 22 port. Can we customize it to these ports, SH ports? Yeah, in the same configuration file, if you edit that, SH port to default is at 22, but it can be customized. But whenever the Ansible is using that, trying to connect it to the system, default what is that like SH point of which port it is going to use it? 22. But if you are going to manage that one custom port for about SH communications also, the custom port for the SH which we can customize it in this configuration file, which is getting used by Ansible. And asking the sudo password is required or not for SH communication. Sudo password. If you are running that any sudo based operations, do you want to prompt for the password? If it is prompting is nothing but that is a manual approach, right? So it is not recommended. But if you have this use case where it is required sudo pass prompting, then you can enable this property. Asking the password or asking the sudo password whenever we are connecting to that the remote systems to run sudo operations. Yeah, these are all some properties, but the main just remember that inventory file location where it is there, the default location now presently we are using, and where is that the user information, which user are you going to use it that to run all the Ansible commands on the remote systems. And whenever we are connecting with this user, do you want to ask the sudo passwords or asking the passwords, and what is the remote port, the default port to have the communications. So these are all some properties which we can enable that in Ansible configuration file. Yeah, we are good with these two properties. Let me save it. But we don't have any restarting options. Ansible, any configuration if we do, we don't need to restart the service. We don't have the service option. But whenever I run that next time that Ansible command, so it is going to load that this configuration file, the latest configuration, whatever you have defined, it reads it and it is loading those configurations as per that which have done the changes. Yeah, that's about one of the important configuration file of the Ansible in the etc folder ansible.cfg. And what is the default inventory file location of the Ansible, where it is located, and what is the file name? What is the default inventory file name of the Ansible and where it is located? Yeah, so here I'm listing that. If you just observe that etc Ansible in that. So what is the file name? Host is the file name. But Ansible configuration file is ansible.cfg. Okay, now thus the inventory file is available and configuration file we have defined and we have that sh communications and everything is ready. What next? So what next is I would like to check it using Ansible whether we are able to connect it to the systems or not. So normally with the SSH based communications we are able to do that, right? If I run it SSH to the system, as web server I am able to connect it. This is normal Linux based communications. And app server, what is this 206? Oh sorry, this is a copy ID. Don't want to copy it once again, already copied. Yeah, app server. Yes, we are able to have the communication on the Linux based. But Ansible is able to communicate it or not. How do we verify it now? So to this system, whether we are able to connect it or not. To this system, 206 and one more thing, what is that? Yeah, 101. So to this system, this is a web server, whether Ansible is able to communicate it or not. So what is the command to verify it? Inventory file, I'll come back. That is, first of all, I would like to check it through Ansible, whether we are connecting to the system under another system or not. So how do you check it? Normally, how do you check it? The communication channels. Ping, right? Ping. Yes. Whether we are able to the connecting to the remote system or not. Yes, we can use it, the ping option, and ping if it says yes, that's this mites of the data is nothing but that's successfully connected. Or what is the second system? Let me just verify the second system also. So on the Linux level, we use the ping and verifying about the target system is reachable or not. Yes, we are good with that. That is bytes of the data, it is able to send it. But through Ansible, I would like to check it. Yes, what is the command? Just note this command, but I will go for that more deeply on this command. Yes, in the next class, that is on Monday, we'll look into that. But so what is the command to check it through Ansible? Normally ping we use it from the Linux based, but Ansible, what is the command that is giving to check it the remote system is reachable or not? Ansible all hyphen I is for that inventory. We are not using that inventory. Now inventory is IP address, right? Yes, this is the IP address, my inventory. Now Ansible has to use it as inventory about this IP address. Yeah, so all is like a group name because still we didn't configure that inventory, the group names. I'm using that default group name is all. Ansible all. But in that all, which IP address? Yes, that's the inventory IP address. This is IP address. Under Linux wise, we say that ping is a command, right? The commands. So on the basis of about your Linux activity, you can identify the command. But in Ansible, what do we call activity based? That's commands is modules. Will talk it. So we have one of the module from the Ansible that is a ping module. So ping is a command as a Linux point of view. But Ansible point of view, ping is the module. Yes, which module we are using? Module name is ping. Yeah, now we are trying to ping it to which node? If you have the group in the inventory file, you can define it, but we didn't define any inventory group. So default inventory group is all. But all if you define it, the which one is that? Yeah, now explicitly we are specifying that the IP address of the system by using -i and IP address. This is the custom inventory. The IP address of that the system which are defined, and which module we would like to run it from the Ansible to check it the system connectivity. Ping is the module which is available from Ansible. How do we know that? Yeah, that is which we should know this in the next concepts. So what are the different modules? So how do we know that the ping is a command from the Linux system to verify the system connectivity? You are learning the Linux commands or not? Like that, the Linux, whatever that activities you are learning, now you need to look into about that from the Ansible modules. We need to know it. But all those keep in that in the mind that's not required. As a Linux activities is which we should remember it. Linux commands, some important, declare some commands. Like that, Ansible is also having the concepts of the modules. So that is which module that is supporting to check that connectivity of the remote system using Ansible is. Now my web server is reachable or not. I need to check it. How do I check it? Yeah, one is ping based, but if it is Ansible is configured, Ansible, and then that system IP address you can give it. Or if there are 100 systems, then simply send that group name. But group name to send it, first of all, inventory file has to be created. If the inventory is not defined, then you cannot use it, the groups. But still we didn't define. That's the next class. I'll come back how to define the inventory file. For the time we are going to use it. All is the default group and IP address as -i, and which module we are trying to run it, ping module. But it is got failed. So what it is saying is some warning: unable to parse home EC2 user in the user home directory this IP address as an inventory source. See, this is not the inventory file, right? This is the IP address. Here we didn't define the inventory file location, but by default what the Ansible is going to think that is, okay, this is the inventory file which was specified. In this inventory file it is looking about it, this group name, but there is no inventory file. That's why it is showing that there is no source file for it. But this is not the inventory file, this is the IP address we have defined. So what we need to do this is comma, we need to specify that. So if you are going to specify only the particular IP address, directly you cannot define that IP address in the Ansible command. So that IP address, comma, we need to define it. Now what is the meaning of this one is, the Ansible is going to understand, okay, this is not the inventory file location, this is about IP address, and it uses that IP address and it is saying that success. That means now we are able to ping from that Ansible to this node. Yes, this node, what is the output? If you see the some warning message, you can just ignore it. There's a Python interpreter version issue. Yes. So here if you see this is 206, it is able to connect it to success, and we got that it is pinging, and we got the response of pong, ping pong, ping pong, ping pong. You got it is in the Ansible is nothing but it is successfully connected to this node. Like that, I would like to check the second node. Second node IP address. What is this? This is IP address, right? Yeah, Ansible default group name. What is that? All. But here we didn't define any inventory file. I would like to specify the custom IP address by using I and IP address of that the system which I would like to check it. But if you are specifying IP address directly, you should not specify with the comma. You need to specify it. And which module would like to run it from the Ansible here to check that remote system is reachable or not. I would like to use a ping module. Or if you like to copy the files, or if you would like to create a users on the remote systems, or if you would like to install the package or services management. So almost all the Linux activities you can manage it with the Ansible by using that modules from the Ansible. But on the base of that activity, module is going to change it. There are modules which we should know. Yes, that is we are coming to that some important modules learning, the one by one, then implementing that one into that through the playbook, then extending that playbook through the roles. Yes, now I'm able to ping to this my other system as well, as that is 101. Or if I would like to check it that these two systems, yes, you can define these two systems after the comma. You can define one more system. Yes, this also. Now it is going to check it like a two systems are reachable or not. Yes, this is reachable. 101 is reachable, and as well as the 206 also is reachable. Are you clear on these points? So now my the controller to that web server, it is able to configure the Ansible, and from my controller to that app server also it has been configured. Successfully we are able to communicate it with the Ansible. If the ping got failed, suppose if I shut down these two systems, let me go back and let me shut down it. Anyway, today's activity is almost done, but to check it that's as well as, so let me go back and shut down the system, web server and app server. Okay, let me keep it one server up, and one server I'm going to stop it. I'm not going to terminate it. So daily to understand these concepts, I'm just going to use it. Stopping, and whenever the class starts, I will start it and we will use these systems. Okay, one system is not reachable. Now if you go back to that the Ansible, and if you try to verify, one system should be reachable, another system should get failure. It is trying to ping their second system. So 206 is reachable, but 101 it is unreachable. So this is unreachable too. And what is the message we got? It is failed to connect to the host via SSH. Connected to this host on the port 22. Connection timed out. The service is not reachable. Or if I do the ping on this machine with a normal Linux activities point of view, if I do the ping on this node, yes, host is unreachable. So that is a Linux level verification. But Ansible, suppose if you see this in the inventory file now, here we didn't define inventory so far, but we have defined that the two systems whenever we are verifying. But if the group is there, in the group, if you have the 1,000 systems, Ansible and group name and -m ping, then we can check it all the 1,000 systems health checkup in single shot, right? Are you getting the points of that? So how you have orchestrated, that is how you have created the groups. First time creating all the things that require some effort. But one time if we define it with the inventory and all these systems, the communication from the controller server, with a simple one command, you can get that. Suppose particular staging server, web servers are reachable or not. Yes, if you have created the group and with all the nodes information in that group, staging, web servers group, if you have the 4 servers and all the 4 servers IP address, if you define in the group, then whenever we use it Ansible and group name and -m and ping, then it is going to get that from the inventory all those 4 systems and connects it, and it verifies it, and it returns the result whether it is reachable or not. So here we are talking that the ping is a module. Ping is to check the system. But if you like to copy the file, yes, use that copy module. Or if you like to create a user or setting a password to the user, use that user module. And if you like to install the package in all this the group of the systems, use that package module, that is YAM. Or if you would like to start that all the Apache services, yes, use it that service and restart the HTTPD on the number of servers which you have in the staging or UAT or the production. But that is a logical entity on the basis of about your inventory. Are you clear on this understanding about Ansible setting up that, and Ansible is SH communication between the controller to the target nodes, and as well as yes, how do we run that Ansible command? So how do we check the Ansible version And how do we run that Ansible command? Ansible command, what is the syntax? Ansible and group name. And if you have this any custom inventory, so custom inventory with IP address you can define it, or group of IP address one by one you can define it. But instead of defining the IP addresses here, we define all these IP addresses in inventory file. That is the next class will come back. Tomorrow there is no class, festival, and we go further on the Monday. So Monday we'll talk it about that inventory. How do we define the inventories? So these IP address converting into that web server as one group, app server as another group, or common services to manage it, because these two are the same systems, right? Like Amazon Linux to AMI. So some common operations like installing, suppose I need to install the Git package on all these two systems. Git is a generic package. But if I would like to install the HTTP package, I need to use it only web server as a group. Or a Tomcat, if I'm going to set up that, I need to use it only app server as a group. But if I'm going to install some duplicate package or a NetTools package or BindUtils packages, then we can, all the systems we need to install it, right? Then web server and app server, both they are into that, the group. Yeah, there's logical division. We'll talk it on the Monday. Yeah, so that's about the points for today. Any queries, questions before going to wind up today, please? Yeah, Git stashing, that documentation is getting ready. So as a clearly defining that step by step. Today I will share it that Max. The preparing this unit, almost it is done. I'll share it that and try to work it that's Git related all the activities. And if you have this any pending, and as well as try to set up replicating this kind of the configuration. And I will share it this step-by-step document also. I'll prepare it and give it to you. But yes, meanwhile you can go ahead all the Git related activities by today end of the day or tomorrow the meet. I will share that today's related the step-by-step activity, all these commands taking and giving that as a unit. So that's all from my side. Any other points, please? Yeah, thank you, and wish you the same. Happy Ugadi to you all. And on the Git, you will be having that the weekend exam. So you will get that notification through WhatsApp. Yeah, be ready, like reviewing about it, those concepts. Now you see this today SH, nobody was able to give that answers. But you have, you would have done those activities, right? So was it the new concept today which I discussed that SH, or is it already discussed in Linux? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Wish you a happy advanced Eswagadi. Just the justifier, like check it about yourself. That SH configurations, whatever we have done today, why you are not able to recollect it? Where is that gap is coming that? So that sometime you need to go back and you need to the review the concepts, the Linux and AWS. But anyway, we have the revision activities. Once this the DevOps is done, all the things again we start the revision and going for that advanced, some more like video based courses. Yeah, fine, good. Thank you all. Try to remember the concepts and try to replicate it this today. If you set up, then you will be knowing that more on SH, applying that to the Ansible. What are the SH service which you are learning in Linux? Now we have applied that one to that Ansible environment. Yeah, knowing the concept that is from the Linux. Now during that DevOps working with that Ansible, yes, which is one of the important point is the communication between the systems. But how do we enable that the passwordless based communication between all the systems? Yeah, that's SH service and SH configuration properties and what else? the restarting the service and setting up that username and the passwords. Yeah, that is some prerequisite for this Ansible. Yeah, thank you all. Try to practice on this and try to complete that all the Git related activities and be ready for that online exam and complete it and come back with a fresh mind. Fresh mind in the sense, don't forget all the concepts and come back to the Monday to start on that. The how do we use it Ansible command line. Yeah, thank you all.